Hey everyone, this is Kroll Centru. It's been a while since I've been on the channel, so I had a few things needed to talk about. One thing just to get a bit more lighthearted out of the way. Happy birthday, Dave! My friend Dave in real life, his birthday is coming up, and he's a pretty cool guy. That said, main reason I haven't been on here is I have had pneumonia for over a month. Now, before anyone gets any ideas, no, I'm quite certain it has nothing to do with the whole COVID-19 coronavirus that's going on at the moment. I've checked symptoms. I definitely have different symptoms. It looks like more of a bacterial infection, but I don't have access to a doctor or medications. Yay. It was about 3 weeks before I could even get over-the-counter medications, so that really made things a whole lot harder to deal with. But as a result, as you can see, I'm still periodically coughing and stuff. Talking makes that worse, and so this is not a good time for me to be recording. So I quickly used up all of my recordings that I still had, and then, of course, couldn't do anything. So that's why. And you have to have a certain number. I think it's like 1,000 subscribers and some other stuff before you can get a community tab. So I can't just drop something in the community tab and be like, "Hey, yeah," and just stick for a while. So unfortunately, that's been a problem. So I will be coming back to this game, Dust and Elysian Tale. In fact, I've actually done a bit of off-screen grinding, um, just to be able to get the it was like beast leather, impide, something like that, just so that I have that available. Anyways, so setting that aside, what else was there? Oh right, I just throw some additional information out there. Obviously, Dust is my current priority. Um, have thankfully actually got some extra help unexpectedly from some people, including some strangers. So that was actually pretty helpful. Did not expect people to just come and help out. Um, but City of Heroes has been uh, still in negotiations to go from the Homecoming service being basically tolerated but not really legit to actually becoming a legit, a legal like community run server. But one of the things is that any people who've been jumping out there doing all these let's play videos, streams, etc., anything of it actually, that's still both illegal and against terms and conditions. I can get them in big trouble. Um, and it can sabotage the actual talks. And so, for that reason, it does look like they're going to be putting that against, at least temporarily, until things blow over. It looks like they may be putting that against their terms and conditions as well for the homecoming servers, so that these people could potentially lose their accounts there too. I don't know how far are they just going to start off with a warning or two or what? I don't know. And anything that's in the past that's already done, they're not counting. Only stuff going from when it gets active forward. So, but that's only because we're trying to get a long-term server here. NCSoft could shut down homecoming servers anytime right now. It's not hidden. They're not hidden under a rock or something. If NCSoft wanted to be their usual selves, that's what they would do. So we need to get something a bit more legitimate and long term. And so it would be good if people actually worked with that. But once that restriction goes away, awesome. We can get out there, get our videos going. I'll be trying to get mine going. Hopefully, cross fingers, don't have any more random chaos. I mean, really, who's going to expect it? Oh, yeah, I think in another couple weeks I'll probably come down with pneumonia for over a month. Yeah, I'll just write that on my calendar. I mean, this is why I don't know what's going to happen. There's always some sort of chaos. Anyways, the other thing being, so just like I found that I was unexpectedly able to do a bit better with the video games, I'm also working on um, not just the Let's Play series, but also I'm going to be making my own game. Now, a couple things for clarification. Ever since I was about 12 years old, that's when I decided for sure I wanted to actually be a game designer. I had already been messing around before that with when I was like 5 or 6 years old, I was already had notebooks full of drawings of melt levels for Super Mario Bros. And stuff like that. That's just the kind of kid I was, I guess. But by the time I was 12, I started taking it seriously and actually looking into, okay, how do I get this as a job and studying games and stuff. And so that means that it's been right now a little over 23 and a half years, so closing in on 25 years of studying for game design. And because of my disability, I couldn't actually do it. So if I can do this, this will be really awesome. But I mean, again, chaos of life. I have no idea if this is going to work. It hasn't worked so far, but I'm not going to give up. And I do see a bit more of an opening because there's some new stuff out there. And I'm using the Stencil program, which is actually much easier to use. And so that should make it easier as I sort of work into it. And mostly what I'm finding is the disability isn't stopping me, it's slowing me down to get started. For example, alright, you see right now this guy on screen here? Everything he does is a series of sprites. This is all 2D action RPG, which is perfect because although mine will look vastly different and probably, I'll be honest, nowhere near as good as this, I am not that great of an artist. This does give an idea because I'm actually working on a 2D action RPG. Just so happens that this is another one that's of a similar vein, although mine will be vastly different anyways. Different strengths and weaknesses. I'm not using a bunch of furries for any characters, and it's different. Mine's set in a whole different setting, more postmodern, but with magic and stuff like that. Anyways, but the thing is, I'm finding, yes, I can actually draw sprites, maybe not great ones, but sprites nonetheless. But what I am having trouble with instead is not actually getting to it, but just trying to overcome the initial fear. See, I have several conditions, but it's like I'll go into it and I'll start getting hit with this massive wave of panic, and I know it's totally illogical because it's not about whether or not I can do it. It's about whether or not the subconscious part of the brain that's not working correctly, and which is being, quite frankly, hammered with the fear chemicals being constantly produced because the brain doesn't come out of this sort of permanent fight or flight. That's what's causing it. And so what I'm doing is I'll get some work done, I'll start getting hammered and hit this wave of fear, and I'll stop, sometimes take a few days off, think about it, and then I can push through and see that, yeah, it's going to be fine. I can do all of this. I mean, I'm already doing a lot of things. I can make my own game then. But, you know, there's other things. One has to be careful about expectations. For example, I just noticed something about this game that I hadn't noticed before. You see that little rabbit? It's like right next to his boot. See how weird it looks when he gets that spot? Well, okay, not anymore. But basically, at some points, it doesn't actually climb the walls, the slanted terrain quite right. Okay, that's fine. But you're going to find little errors like that in any old game you get, and that's okay. And that's one of those things. But I think I can make it work. Um, Obviously, time will tell. I mean, if like my computer goes kaput and I can't actually get a replacement computer, then yeah, I'm gonna have trouble playing, any games. Just saying, you never know. But I am gonna give it my best shot. So, not really any official announcements on it though, because of just how much there has yet to be done. One of the biggest things I'm doing is just testing mechanics, testing out some basic stuff like, okay, can I actually do this? Is there a way to pull off this idea? And then doing a huge amount of outlining. This would be anything from outlining basic ideas, such as what characteristics might I want. Let me see if I can pop this open real quick. No, this is the wrong one. Here we go. Like this guy. Okay, that's the wrong stats. Character, here we go. He's got a max health. He's got an attack, defense, fidget, okay. Yeah, luck, and then he's got the basics. Experience level, how much experience is next level. Alright, so I'm looking at what am I going to be using. I'm looking at some compound abilities, probably like I have been looking at power and speed. Speed's probably going to be replaced with agility just because it's a more broad terminology. Um, there are some major differences that I'd be looking at. For example, if you have speed, let's be honest, you could be the fastest moving person around there. It will not increase the speed of an assault rifle's firing rate. It's just not going to. You could increase the speed of your refire, not your refire, but your reload, but not your actual attack speed. And so, likewise, I would have to consider that into there. How do I want to balance that? And so I might do something like with agility. I can say that an agility-focused character has more accuracy, so they get the narrower spread, etc. But again, I'm going to have to see a lot of these things and what actually works. So I'm starting to mess around with some ideas and mechanics, figure out what kind of ideas I want. I have to do a lot. I have probably around 70 to 80% of the initial outline done, including the plot line. But every single level is going to need its own outline. Every single uh, like hub of area you can go to like buy and sell and talk to people. I'm going to have to be doing a ton of dialogue writing. I'm going to have to write up, for each level I'm going to need a special plan. I'm going to be needing to look at tile sets. I'm going to be needing to look at, like, okay, what tile sets do I need? I mean, can't really make up a tile set if I don't know which tile sets I need. I know some of them off the top of my head. Like, I'm looking at a warehouse, I'm going to be needing some streets, some laboratories, etc. Blah, 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 military base. Um, Weirder stuff. Now that I'm doing an outline, I can start to see some other areas. Probably going to need a library. Just things like that. And so I'll just have to see. And I'm going to be looking at, what kind of background so I need. For example, right now I'm walking on the ground here, but you can see the ground only goes so far back, and then there's stuff that's even farther back there that's actually moves at a little bit different rate than everything else that I'm next to simulate it being a little bit farther in the background. That's actually, there's multiple background images, in fact. And so, stuff like that I'll be looking into a whole load of stuff. So that's all game design. And like I said, I've been studying this stuff I'm closing in on 25 years. So I know a ton. I just have to see if I can pull it off. It'd be really cool if I could. For me, Let's Plays is a hobby. Game design would be my actual profession. So it'd be quite different. But I still don't know. Everything's up in the air. I'm still not well, as the coughing has been showing. But regardless, I think things are going to work out. And other than that, I will go back to recordings once my voice clears up and I can stop choking all the time and actually have a decent, setup here. I would have just dropped some stuff if I had something that worked better, but people aren't gonna. I don't have anything set up for Twitter or Discord because honestly, I don't really have any consistent fans that are there actually chatting. I mean, my friend Dave's pretty cool. He'll show up and watch these sometimes. Um, I know that he hasn't been watching the most recent Dust and Elysian Tale because I have 0 views, so no one has been. Go figure. I mean, that's the problem with trying to break into the LPs, is that no matter where I look, it's going to be clogged with everyone's already done these Let's Play series, which is fine. But that's the thing. If they don't have a community, why would I put up all this effort to get, community-based stuff? And so, but then on the other hand, I run into trouble where I can't always get news out to you when I want to. So hopefully this will just give you a little bit of an update on what's going on. That yes, the channel's been out of commission and probably be a little bit longer. I don't know if it's just going to be a few days or if it's going to. I hope it doesn't take a few more weeks. Holy crud! I have been doing better, but I mean, it's been pretty bad. Pneumonia. I mean, you've got lungs get all filled up. You can have trouble breathing. There's all the coughing and stuff. There's stuff you don't want to hear about. It gets pretty gross, but yeah, well, it is what it is. But at least I'm recovering, and slowly, so I think it'll be all right. And we'll see what else happens out there. Well, things go in life, eh? Anyways, hope you're all having a good time out there, and I will see you another time.